What's going on, guys? Here on a beautiful South Florida afternoon. It's like 82 degrees. It's lovely for this time of the year. A little bit of a breeze. I'm here with the 454 carb swapped OBS, and as you can see, it's not carb swapped anymore. I went with aftermarket fuel injection. Biggest reason why is the transmission controller. The one I wanted was like 800 bucks, and then you had to buy the TPS kit, which was like another 150 bucks. So you look like $950, $1,000 to get the transmission to shift. That was the only thing I didn't like about running a carburetor, was I had to shift the transmission manually, and it was at full line pressure all the time, so it shifted hard, like way too hard for a 1-ton truck, like braking shit hard. So I kept seeing the sales for Aces fuel injection. I was reading about them, and a lot of bad reviews about people saying the ECU's burnt up, and they don't work right, the distributor doesn't work right, their timing control system doesn't work right, just all kinds of stuff, running rich, bog off the line, whatever. It was just any complaint you can imagine. And it's the same with any aftermarket fuel injection. They all got people that don't know what they're doing and do it wrong, or legitimately have an issue, and there is an issue with the software, the ECU. But I went with the Killshot with the 4L80 controller. Now, I already got it on. I've been driving it. I haven't been driving it that much. I've been driving it a lot, but it's been real local, so the truck doesn't get up to temp, and it hasn't learned that much. But it runs great. The transmission shifts like it should. It works great, and it was $1,000 delivered to my door. I spent another 150 bucks on the Evil Energy fuel pressure regulator and line kit, all PTFE lines. I'm running them off the OBS fuel lines. So basically what I did was, you can see the fuel lines coming up right there. I basically just went 6AN off the original factory fuel lines. Almost fell off the curb there. You can see how far it drops off. And went with 6AN fittings on the end of the OBS fuel lines. It's still using the factory OBS fuel filter and fuel pump. I'm running it at 40 PSI. It's 38 to 43 is what they suggest, so I went with 40, and it runs good. Now, the biggest complaint about this system is, excuse me, it burning up and not working right, and I don't get any voltage while cranking, and my coils won't fire, and blah, 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 blah. If you read the instructions, or go online and read the instructions, or watch their videos, they express highly the use of relays to get clean voltage on everything. So what I'm going to show you here is these 3 relays, 1, 2, and 3. This one is for ignition for the quick draw transmission controller. This one is 12 volt switched ignition for the Killshot, 12 volt switched ignition for the fuel pump. Now, I have all these running down here into these breakers. I had these breakers laying around. I would have put a fuse box there, but I had these, and they were free, and they're all 40 amps, so they work perfect for what I need. They're all running into the breakers, and then off the breaker, they're going to the battery. Now, Aces suggests that you run a dual post battery. Run all your Aces stuff and ground all your Aces stuff, like here, to the battery, and then use your starter and your alternator power and your ground for the chassis up top, or vice versa, however you want to do it. But they want you to keep the Aces separate if possible from all this, to avoid voltage spikes from the alternator or what have you going back to the ECU. So all that's done. They also want you to run a fuel pump relay if you're pulling more than 15 amps from your fuel pump. Now, I know the OBS Chevy doesn't pull more than 15 amps from the fuel pump. The fuel pump wire is very thin. And they give you a relay already wired in for a fuel pump in the Aces kit. Now, they say you can use this, like I said, if you're not pulling more than 15 amps, you can just get away with the one relay. But they suggest to run another relay in line with theirs, which is what this one is. So basically, it's going through that relay, and that relay is turning on this relay, and this relay is turning on the fuel pump. So you're making sure you're getting a clean 12-volt signal, as these are. These are pulling from some random injector wires that the harness burnt up, and I cut out, and I left in there a couple of wires, and I'm pulling 12 volts while cranking off of them, but I'm running them through a relay, and then through the relay I'm going to the ECUs right here. This right here is for my starter. I'm sorry, for the air conditioning relay, starter relay, and the fuses for the starter relay on both sides, and for the AC relay on both sides, because the harness burnt up, so I had to rewire all that stuff. So it's all fused and protected on both sides of the feed, on the device side and the relay side. So now, this is the Aces harness that it comes with. It's already predetermined where all these fuses and relays fall. Now, I wanted to mount this inside, and they suggest that you do if you can, but I couldn't. There was no room, and the way the harness is laid out, this was my best option. So basically, I just took the stock ECU out, and I cut a plate out of the roof of Tommy's old truck, screwed it down, and mounted my ECUs right here. So everything's got good airflow. I got them on spacers that they give you, so the air gets underneath them. You want to keep them out of the rain, which the hood is going to do just fine. And that's that. These two relays I put here, one is for the AC and one is for the starter, which I showed you what those fuses are right there. That's what powers those relays. So everything is fused. There's no issues with the wiring as far as that goes. What else can I tell you? I had to put this little Evil Energy catch can in here because I took that big plastic one off so I could run the fuel pressure regulator there. So what I like about the system is it's affordable. I mean, granted, would I love to get a Holly on it? Absolutely. I'd love to put Holly on this and everything else I own, but Holly's a little bit more. And I don't know if it's as user-friendly as the Aces, believe it or not. I mean, the tuning software for the Aces is a little bit different than the Holly and what other people use. But once you familiarize yourself with it, it's not that bad. And it's pretty easy to get your shit up and running pretty quick. As far as being able to go, you can do a lot of the stuff just in the handheld, and that'll get you up and going and be fine as long as you drive the truck a certain amount of miles and make it learn. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I'll show you the handheld. This one came with the 5-inch right here. So I just got it laying right there on the dash because the speedometer doesn't work, but all the other gauges work. So, and these are extra wires that come with the transmission controller. Basically, you can hook it up to the brake pedal. So every time you hit the brake, the torque converter will unlock. There's paddle shifting capability here for, like, if you want to use paddle shifter to bump up and bump down gears, there's wires for that. There's wires for your speedometer output if you need something to run on a speedo sensor or you want to run a speedometer. There's also this brown wire here. If you connect it to ground, switch it to ground, it'll put the quick draw into competition mode and make the transmission shift harder, and make the shifts a little bit more spread out for drag racing, or if you're going to the track or what have you. So it's pretty cool. It all communicates through this CAN bus system. What's nice is you can read both ECUs on one screen. You can just you can just toggle back and forth on the screen from the Killshot to the quick draw and watch everything and tune everything, or go to the handheld or the Wizard, what have you. So it's basically like it's basically like communicating, like on newer cars with modules and stuff. They run CAN bus. Like the buses I used to work on at the county, they all ran on CAN bus. They use ladder logic and all that shit, but it works really well. And they give you a lot of wire. You can mount that screen anywhere. You don't need to have the screen hooked up. If you got an aftermarket dash or you don't want the screen, you can tune it and everything and then take it off and it's fine. So I ran all my wires right here. Everything away from the wires in the distributor. It's stressed very highly to keep all the wires away from the spark plug wires, so you don't get any dirty voltage. Now, I'm running an HEI distributor. I don't have the vacuum advance hooked up. Focus. Right now, my distributor is at 10 degrees base timing, which is kind of mild for a big block, and I'm all in at like 32, 34. So, I don't have it really that. It's a stock 454 with a vortec cam in it. I mean, it's got 4 degrees of retard ground in it from the factory, so it's no freaking horsepower maker from the rip, So, but they do offer a distributor and coil setup And it's kind of like similar to the Holly, where you set it 15 degrees before top dead center, lock it down, and then you go into the ECU and you set your timing tables and what have you into the handheld, and it's supposed to control timing on it. I hear they have a lot of problems with that. I wasn't concerned with it because I knew I was just going to keep running my HEI. I like to set my timing and know what it is, and I don't have to worry about it. So that's what I'm doing. I don't have the vacuum hooked up, the vacuum advance. I didn't need it. It's all in at like 2,300 RPMs, which is what I want. So it gives you provisions for your PCV valve or your brake booster. These are all manifold vacuum right here, and you get a ported vacuum source right here. So it's pretty cool. Comes with a PIC connector, real easy, just plugs in. Basically what they want you to do is run the feed into the throttle body, and then out of the throttle body into the regulator, and then from the regulator to the tank. But you can put these anywhere. You can put this here and put the return on that corner. You can put this here and have the return over there. You can put the feed here and have the return there. It doesn't matter. It's all one piece, so it all flows through, which is pretty cool as well. So, but the biggest thing about it is the clean voltage and making sure you wire everything through relays and not through a bus bar, not to the back of the alternator, not to the fucking starter, but right to the battery, like Aces tells you. It needs a true clean 12 volts. And the biggest thing is when you hook it up to the battery is big, like an isolator. So if there is any flyback, this battery is going to absorb it better than a bus bar. If you're running your shit to a bus bar for the fuel injection, you're going to have a problem. If some voltage spike flies back through the bus bar and goes through your ECU, it's going to fry your ECU, and that's what happens a lot. So you got to fuse everything, and you got to run relays on all your switch to 12-volt sources, and you got to keep everything separate. You got to have a dual-pulse battery, and you got to run it right to the battery like I did. This is all Aces stuff, fuel pump, and the constant power for the fuel pump relay, the ignition relays, all the grounds for the same thing, the ground for the car, the alternator charge wire, and the positive for the starter. That's it. That's all I got going to the top. You want them separate. You don't want the alternator flying back into the same place you got these going on. If that alternator spikes out and overcharges for some reason, it's going to send it to here. And rather than the battery absorbing it, it's going to go right to your ECU and fry your fucking ECU and whatever else you got riding on that circuit. So, guys, quick video of how I wired it. I don't have any fucking problems with this system. For the price, it's phenomenal. It's pretty easy to tune once you learn the software. I'm sorry, I'm a little shaky, guys. Walking down the embankment of the road. What else can I say about it? It fired right up, guys. It fired right up. Now, I know, like I've seen on Holly, sometimes it takes a minute to fire up. You got to do a couple things. But this thing, literally, as soon as I got it done, it fired right up and idled. So I'm impressed with it. The transmission shift's good. The factory table that they put in there for the 4L80E is pretty good. It needs a little tuning here and there, but for the most part, it shifts good. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are thinking about fuel injection, or you're looking for a training controller and you're running a carburetor and you're thinking about shit for the price, I might as well try it. Definitely try it. If you listen to them and wire it the way they tell you and watch their videos and set the IAC per their procedure and all the stuff they tell you, it's actually a really good kit right out of the box. And the more you drive it, the more it's going to learn. So this thing's been pretty good. I mean, I don't drive it that much. Like I said, short distances, and only gets up to like 160, and it just starts learning. But I'm getting ready to take it on a couple 2-hour runs here and see what it does and see how it learns, and go from there. So I'll keep you guys posted. Again, guys, don't get me wrong. It ran great with the carburetor, but I just couldn't justify not trying this system for the same price as just buying a transmission controller, and I'm really happy with it. And if you guys buy it, I'm sure you'll be happy with it too. You just got to give it a chance, and you got to make sure it's wired the correct way. Biggest thing. Wire it the right way, you won't have any problems. Talk to you guys later.